Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. This is Gianni DePocio, your host, and it's Friday again, but the markets are closed today due to a holiday, so I'm going to have some updated charts for you to share this week. So let's start off by beginning with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, capped off a pretty decent week. We finished higher on Thursday, but I think the big news on the week was the announcement of a supply cut or a production cut by OPEC on Sunday, and markets responded accordingly. The Dow outperformed the NASDAQ this past week, and then on Friday we did have a non-farm payroll report come in above expectations, all but solidifying a 25 basis point rate hike at the next Fed meeting on May 3rd. So we'll see here, taking a look at the chart of the NASDAQ. NASDAQ underperforming this past week, but still a decent gain on Friday. It did lead the market higher on Thursday. Excuse me, not Friday. Markets are closed on Friday, but yeah, I think the big story is whether or not the NASDAQ can eventually reach this high from August, since the Dow has already taken out its high from August. That's a pretty significant case of intermarket bearish diversion. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield. Was down for most of the week, but the futures, we did see a pretty nice rebound in the futures market. It's not a full trading day, as I said on Friday, but after the strong non-farm payroll report, we did see a nice rise in interest rates. So could that be a significant cycle low? That remains to be seen. But what I do know is that we have a couple of very key geocosmic signatures next week, including Venus ingressing into the sign of Gemini on April 11th, and on the same day, she will form a trine to Pluto. And so Pluto rules debt, Venus rules money. We're going to be looking for big reversals in currency markets next week, as well as debt markets. And we're also entering a very key critical reversal date zone in the next couple of weeks. So we need to be on alert for big reversals in bond and currency markets in the next couple of weeks. We also have a conjunction between the Sun and Jupiter on the 11th. And keep in mind that Jupiter, while not directly ruling banks, does have a tendency to rule central banks. So we do have a couple of Fed governors speaking next week as well, which can move markets. And also, last and certainly not least, we have a square signature between Venus and Saturn on Friday, the 14th. So again, really need to hammer down the importance of keeping a close eye on interest rate and currency markets next week. Let's take a look at precious metals. Gold and silver rallied to new multi-month highs last week. That's pretty bullish, but we're coming down a little bit off those highs. This was a big theme coming into this year. We like the idea of metals having a nice rally due to Jupiter transiting through the sign of Aries, and the sun's exalted in Aries. Obviously, gold is ruled by the sun. So that has played out accordingly. You can see a chart of silver here went out near the highs of the week. Let's take a look at crude oil because, as I mentioned, we had that supply cut by OPEC at the beginning of the week. So we gapped up on Monday and basically finished Thursday at the highs of the week. So this ties into Saturn in Pisces. We've been talking about this, the possibility of shortages, but I think the catalyst or the moving part here is whether or not the economy falls into recession. Coming into this year, it was our position that inflation, a resurgence in inflation was the real risk in markets. And, between Saturn going through Pisces and Jupiter set to ingress into Taurus on May 17th, I think that remains to be the case. And I think the real risk for markets at this time is resurgence in inflation. So keep a close eye on crude oil next week, also because the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Aries, could lead to some geopolitical tensions. And we know that crude oil is especially a sensitive market with respect to that. Now, I do want to take a look at copper this week because I think this is a really important market to watch in these next couple weeks or even the next couple months, with Jupiter set to go into Taurus on May 17th. We know that Venus rules Taurus and Venus rules copper as well. So very important commodity to watch. It's one of the most important base metals used in a lot of industrial inputs, hence its nickname Dr. Copper. And so, this has been consolidating over the last couple of months and really not exhibiting any types of characteristics of a bear market. And so if the economy was set to enter a recession, we would be seeing copper roll over, and we're just not seeing that right now. So as I look towards Jupiter set to ingress into Taurus, perhaps we do see a strong finish to the economy, at least into the third quarter of this year. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin continues to flag within its bull flag formation. And so the clock is running out on Venus in Taurus. So perhaps we get one final pop, a lot of important signatures next week, as we already outlined. So keep a close eye on crypto as well. Ethereum did make a new multi-month high. So that's pretty bullish too. So that takes care of all the markets that I wanted to look at with you this week. So thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the long weekend for those of you that trade and didn't have to trade on Friday. I just wanted to let everyone know that we have the monthly edition of the MMA Cycles Report, our flagship publication, set to be published on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So you can find all the details at www.mmacycles.com. Also, all of the details and travel arrangements have been made for the course 2 of the Merriman Market Timing Academy. We will be holding that in person in Troy, Michigan. So that's going to be at the beginning of June, and those details can also be found at www.mmacycles.com. So thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all a great weekend, and we'll be back same time, same place next week.